I'm very excited. This is the culmination of 7 years of working in clean energy and renewable energy, and on a vision that began in Mexico City in 2006. And that was a vision for a regenerative society. Does anyone, and I know everyone in here has heard of a sustainable economy, I'm sure. Does anyone know, or can anyone take a guess at what the difference is between a sustainable economy and a regenerative economy?
Tell us.
All right, great. Awesome. A sustainable economy is 0 point. All right, so we've heard, oh, we need to become sustainable and all this. This is good. This is the first step. But it's still just 0 point. If it's sustainable, it's static. So in essence, it's dead. It's not even going anywhere. So a regenerative society is the next step after sustainability. It's life. Life is regenerative. Life is constantly creating. Life is constantly moving, making things new. This is a regenerative economy. So that's what I'm here to talk about today. Again, the vision started in 2006, but it's been a long road, and here we are in 2013. But I want to take you all for a little trip. We're going to enter into a time machine, and it's now June 20th, 2020. All right, and I have here a newspaper blip that goes along with this picture of Detroit. Again, here we are. Hello, everyone. It's 2020. It is now the year 2020, and the city of Detroit is a global leader in sustainability and innovation. Detroiters are thriving and excited to talk about the decade-long transformation of their city back to the global leader that it was in the mid-1900s. Detroit processes all its organic and non-organic waste, and significant energy is generated through the biogas produced from organic byproducts. Detroit generates nearly 80% of its energy from renewable resources and offsets the remaining 20% through the trade and sale of carbon bonds in international markets. The city is described as a dynamic synergy of urban, suburban, and country, a sprawling green zone generating nearly all food locally or through interactive trading and commerce based in the city. Education has become paramount to this success story, as the 10-year transformation was spearheaded by the youth who took the lead when given the opportunity to choose a positive path forward. The eyes of the entire planet are now on Detroit, and many cities from London, Berlin, Mexico City, and Cairo are quickly moving to duplicate the model of sustainability and regenerative systems in education first realized in Detroit, Michigan. All right, y'all. Thank you. So let's come back to the present moment. All right, June 20th, 2013. And let's summarize what we just said. The vision is the city of Detroit to be the first sustainable, carbon neutral, and zero waste megacity, and to be the prototype for the global regenerative economy. All right, now that sounds great, right? Everyone? Sounds cool? But we got to start where we are. Where are we now? Where are we today? We all know what's going on. And this is not just about Detroit. This is our economy. This is our society. We all live in a non-sustainable society. Is that a newsflash for everybody? No, right? What does that mean? Well, non-sustainable society means that we consume more than we produce. All right? It means that we have a separation mindset. So I'm here, you're over there, and there's a wall between us. I'm here and the planet is somewhere, we're standing on it, but there's really no connection. So it doesn't matter how I treat the planet. And it doesn't even, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how I treat other people too, as long as I get what I need. That's a non-sustainable economy. There's a short-term mindset, and this is especially seen in corporations and in governments where they think in terms of 1 year, 2 years, maximum 3 years. But usually it's a 1-year mindset. What can I do this year to make the most amount of money so that I can make my bonus? That's our non-sustainable mindset. We live in an instant gratification society. We want everything right now, right? That's what we do. And we produce, because of that, we produce an enormous amount of waste. I think we're all cognizant of that, right? And our energy infrastructure is 60% inefficient. That means if you take all energy across the board, fuel, electricity, hot water, you name it, everything, 60% of it is wasted before it's used. 60%, y'all. That's unbelievable. And we destroy non-renewable resources. We experience frequent ecological disasters. We know all about that. And we experience global resource shortages and conflict as a result of that. This is where we are right now. All right? Now let's focus in on the city of Detroit. City of Detroit, we also know this. I don't think this is news for anyone. There's 100,000 vacant lots. There's an unemployment rate of 17.5%. High school dropout rate for males is over 50%. I've heard as high as 75% in the city of Detroit. That's mind-blowing. Emergency, there's an emergency financial manager. The public school system is in disarray. And only 5% of the waste is recycled in the city of Detroit. That's where we are today. So we have, as you can see, we have a long way to go in just 7 years. But let's talk about a few positive things. In the city of Detroit, there's some great things happening. This is a very small sample of what's going on. We have the modern evolution. We have Green Garage. Green Garage rebuilt I believe it was one of the early dealerships from the 20s, and they used everything that was there, and they rebuilt it all from those products. And it's a beautiful facility. We have Chihuahua Permaculture, which Alan, our filmer here, is also a part of. And he'll talk a little about that in a second. You can see a picture here in the bottom. And we have D-Town Farms, Tech Town, Henry Ford High School right here with solar panels. They also have wind turbines and hoop houses. And we have, this is very cool, the Detroit Future City and Detroit Works. These are actually this is a container hotel. So this whole structure right here is built out of old containers, shipping containers. And there's also that same model can be applied for homes. So these are just a sample of a few good things happening today in the city of Detroit that we're involved with. Detroit City Strategic Framework. This is work that was done primarily funded by Dan Gilbert and the work they're doing in Detroit. And this Detroit City Future City Strategic Framework is about 400 pages. There's an enormous amount of information in there, everything we need. So it gives us a base to start with. All right, now let's talk about the road to the regenerative society, because that's why we're here. There's 3 phases to this. Phase 1 is economic sustainability. How can we talk about solar energy, renewable winds, all these other cool things? How can we talk about that if we're not making money? If our economy is not doing well? If we have 17.5% unemployment rate? People are desperate. We can't. So what we've determined is that the first step in economic sustainability is a digital ecosystem. In the city of Detroit, somewhere around 70% of the people aren't online. And we are in the new economy now. And they may have a connection, but they don't have a computer. Or they don't know how to use that computer. So what we've determined and what we're doing right now at this moment is installing digital Wi-Fi systems, low cost, $10 a month to the Detroiters, and also bringing the hardware, the computers, and on top of that also training them. So what good is it if you have a Wi-Fi connection if you don't have a computer? And what good is it if you have a computer and you don't know how to use it? So right now, today, we're attacking that. We've already installed our first Wi-Fi systems. The project is called Ecosphere, and it's together with Detroit Future Media, which is part of Allied Media, which is a government-sponsored project. The second part of economic sustainability is social entrepreneurship. So we know we are going in that direction. We're going in the direction of everything you do is valuable. Everything you do. When you go shop somewhere, that's valuable. When you go look on an internet site, that's valuable. But what's the problem now? We're not getting paid for that. I often say that Facebook is new economy technology with an old economy mindset. Why? Because do you have any idea how much you're selling your information for? I think if we knew how much they're making off of us right now, everyone in this room would be very upset. All right, that's the idea. So the idea is we're getting away from that. We're getting into a zone where not only do we have this new economy technology, but we're being compensated and paid for our value, who we are. All right, that's very important. We have the Child and Family Foundation. The Child and Family Foundation is part of Lioness. Lioness is a global community of 3 million people, and we make money shopping. And that shopping goes into schools, building green schools. We have the Better Detroit Youth Movement and the Better Pontiac. James, raise your hand. James is here representing the Better Pontiac Youth Movement. All right? And guys, this is one of the most incredible organizations I've had the privilege of being a part of. They're teaching the kids from the ages of 15 to postgraduate. They're teaching how to communicate, teaching life skills, entrepreneurship. Every week we meet in Detroit, working with an amazing group of people. All right? We have the Young Entrepreneurs Program. The Young Entrepreneurs Program is giving students that want it, students that want a little bit more, that have the ability and are looking for something more, to start their own business while they're still in high school and to pay for their college education with that business. And when they come out of college, they're going to have a degree, they can do whatever they want with that, and they're going to have a standalone business at the same time. All right? And the Tree of Life program. The Tree of Life program is a mall run by kids, a company called Kidco. That's also under development in the city of Detroit. And here I'm just going to read this. This is from the Detroit Future City Strategic Framework, Dan Gilbert's group again. And it says, the 4 pillars of employment account for over 1/2 of Detroit's employment base: education and medical, digital and creative jobs, industrial, and local entrepreneurship. Now this is the important point. Local entrepreneurship is identified as the sleeping giant of the new Detroit economy. All right? By increasing Detroiters' access to employment and entrepreneurship, the city will grow its base of workers and city ownership while increasing incentives for and investment in further education and training. So this is what's being worked on right now in the city of Detroit. Now we move into, and I didn't mention earlier, but phase 1 is we're really looking at 2013 to 2016. That doesn't mean by 2016 we're going to have this solved. That means we'll have made a lot of progress, and things will look drastically different in Detroit by 2016. And from 2016 to 2020, we're talking about energetic sustainability. So again, phase 1, economic sustainability. Phase 2, energetic sustainability. Energetic sustainability has 2 parts. The first part is fuel, or energy. That's energy efficiency, solar energy, wind energy, bioenergy, geothermal, hydrogen. And here I have a few examples. Here's a solar array. Now you can imagine this with those 100,000 empty lots in Detroit. We can put up solar panels to power the city. Here we have a hydrogen high rail system that's also creating electricity and hydrogen. The whole rail system is covered in solar panels, and it's a high-speed train. Here's a biodigester. So believe it or not, underneath that is a whole lot of crap. There's about 50,000 animals going into this biodigester. So it's bigger than a football field, and it's about 20 feet deep. Well, guess what? All that crap is producing what? Methane. And guess what we do with that methane? We burn it and make electricity. So instead of smelling that when you go by a farm, we're going to cap that, and we're going to use that gas to create electricity and hot water and hydrogen. All right? And not only that, it has a cement base, and so none of that seeps into the groundwater. So this, in my opinion, this is the best renewable energy out there. It's using what we consider the worst thing to create electricity. All right? And then over here, we have what's called a vertical axis wind turbine, currently under development, and we have George Grote here. And George is going to tell everyone really quick what makes this turbine so special, other than the fact that it's being researched and developed and produced here in Michigan.
I'm really normally very nervous talking in front of people, so you just got to bear with me, right? At any rate, thanks, John. What's going on right here is, how would you guys like to have a scoop of something that's going to happen in the state of Michigan, and nobody else knows about it tonight, but you're going to hear all about it. And that is simply, Michigan is going to end up being the premier state, because we're going to build these turbines in Brighton, Michigan, and there's going to be a major announcement with Governor Snyder on July 8th, so watch your TV channels. With the whole House of Representatives, Congress is all going to accumulate, because what has happened is we're bringing this design from Germany and the Netherlands. It's undisputed a design that is so efficient that we can cut a wind speed of less than 4 miles per hour, and in normal turbines you get about 30 to 40% efficiency, and this guy is in the 70s. And this design is set up with what is called a Devarius and Severius design. Take a wing of an airplane. The airplane is lifted because the air flows over the top of the wing, creates lift. That's how a plane flies. If you take that wing and turn it this way, the wind flows over this, and it actually pushes But the Germans have been making, and the Dutch have been making turbines for years. They have the various, which the wind catches a cup, pushes it. Well, if you take the various and the Severius, where you have push and pull, you have a complete balance. So this turbine only spins at about 200 RPM and creates an immense amount of energy. And it can never overspeed. The biggest problem you see with horizontals, number one, they have to turn the horizontal into the wind, so they need energy to do that. This one is vertical. It goes up or down. The wind can be bidirectional. It doesn't matter. In fact, in urban environments, we can put these on the side of a building and get the updraft from the flow of the streets, and they love it because it's, again, bidirectional. When you have the push and the pull, and you have a turbine that is getting up around 150 miles per hour, the first thing, RPMs per hour, the first thing that happens is people worry about slowing it down. This one, if you'll notice, has inside of this a V shape. It's called a vortex. This design, once the RPMs exceed 150 miles an hour, dumps the vortex automatically, aerodynamically, slows the turbine down. You never have to worry about braking it. We've wind tested these at over 500 miles per hour. They will not exceed 150 RPM. So it's constant. So that design is coming to Michigan. You are going to see it. Watch the TV channels on July the 8th. It'll be on the news. And keep tracking us. Center Powered is the name of the company, and the wind turbine is called Center Powered Wind Turbine, CWPT. Thank you.
Thank you, George. So George and I began working together in 2009 when I got back here from Mexico, and I think you're one of the first persons I met. And George already had done a lot of work on the ground in Michigan, and we've gone through quite a bit together, and now we're here ready to do this.
And he makes great tortillas.
Thank you. My wife, that's my wife. Right. All right, phase 2 is energetic sustainability as the food. So we have our electricity, we have our fuel, but we also need food to eat, right? So the idea here is in Detroit, we have permaculture, urban farming, hoop houses, and community gardens. Here's one of my favorites right here, Chihuahua. And Alan, since you're filming, I'm going to just say what I know. If I make a mistake, please correct me. But this is called a crater garden. Has anyone heard of a crater garden here? All right, this is cutting edge technology. So what they did, and this is in Highland, is it in Detroit or Highland Park? If you see in here in the middle, it's all empty. Well, imagine going to a vacant lot, digging a huge hole, and putting berms, which you can see here around the side. Well, what this effectively does is increases the growing area by how much? 3 times. Okay, so you got 3 times more growing area, and not only that, since we have a natural pond here now, we can use the water that accumulates there to water this garden. And on top of that, there's wood, if I understand correctly, all through the center of this, there's wood, so that starts to absorb the water and give off nutrients and minimizes the amount of water needed. So this year, have you had to water this?
We have not watered it at all.
Awesome.
And it's doing really well.
Well, you can see it here. But when I saw it, it was all dirt, so that's awesome. And here's a few other examples. Here's a hoop house. We're going to see more and more of those in Detroit and all around as well. That way we can grow food all year round. Right? So we've gone from economic sustainability in 3 years to energetic sustainability in 4 years. And again, you guys, this does not mean 100%. If we hit 50, 60%, 80%, that's more than enough, because then it's just a matter of time. But what's the final step? We came here to talk about the regenerative society. So what does that look like? What does a regenerative Detroit look like? Detroit is a city that produces more than it consumes and has no waste byproduct. No waste byproducts. There is, actually in the universe, there's no such thing as waste. All right, that's something that we created. Grows a majority of its own food and enjoys self-sustained water delivery. Recycles all organic and inorganic trash and utilizes the energetic byproduct to power homes and businesses. Powered by renewable energy and utilizes a multifaceted approach to public transportation with an emphasis on biking and walking. It's also a city that utilizes carbon credits to offset non-renewable resource energy generation. It does not pollute water or ground shed. It enjoys clean air all the time. Now I know Detroit isn't known as a big air pollution, but if you go to the south side of Detroit, it is. There's enormous rates of sickness there from the air pollution there. All right, so we want to get rid of that completely. It is a global leader in energy conservation, energy efficiency, and renewable energy. It is a center of innovation and continuous improvements. It has a near zero unemployment rate and a near zero dropout rate from the schools. Yes, thank you very much. It is a global model in urban regeneration. All right? So, where are we now? Again, what is needed to make this vision come true? Well, first of all, we need local community engagement. So what we found is a lot of times people go into a community with ulterior motives. There's an example of a school where they installed wind turbines and then just left. They just wanted to have the name that they did that project there, and they left. They never connected it, never left any instructions on how to run these turbines. And I'm talking about $50,000, $60,000 in turbines that could power 50% of that school's electricity. And just to get that image, they did that. So those kind of things have happened over and over again in Detroit. So there's a bad rep going on. So what we have to do is really engage the community. Go in there. I've been in the community since 2009, since I returned at least 3 times a week, working with the people on the ground. That's critical. The second thing is external community investment of capital, time, and networks. Because when Detroit is unhealthy, guess what? So are we. So are the suburbs. We might think that it's okay, but the reality is it's not. So we need to engage as well. Right? The third thing is we need corporate and government buy-in. This is absolutely essential. For one thing, they have the money. But 2, they also have the way to make things happen. All right? So we do need that buy-in, and we are getting that buy-in. It's a slow process, but it is happening. We need statewide K through post-grad education programs. And we need a global reach. So in order for this to be successful, not only are we going to be feeding other cities and countries, but they also have to be helping us. All right?